Good day, everyone. I am Kimberly Pabaera.
And I am Princess Ella Spiritu.
And we are from BEd 3-2. This video is for the subject EN 3102, the teacher and the community, school culture and organizational leadership. Today, we'll be discussing the first topic under Introduction to Society, Community, and Education, which focuses on defining the basic concepts. There are 5 key concepts that we'll cover in this video: the society, community, education, social interaction, and school culture. So now, let's get started.
So, what is society? We often hear people say that we have a responsibility to society or that society will not approve of our actions. But who exactly is we in society? Is it simply a group of people, or is it the shared beliefs and values that connect them? There are many definitions of society, but one thing to remember is that it refers to the members of a specific group who share common interests, culture, or organization. It is comprised of an organized group of people who shares common beliefs, interests, culture, or profession, whose constant interaction are governed by shared norms, which make them a distinct group. So kapag sinabi nating society, hindi lang itong basta grupo ng mga taong magkakasama sa isang lugar. Ang mahalaga dito ay may ugnayan sila sa isa't isa at nagkakaroon din ng pagkakaintindihan. Halimbawa na lang ang isang barangay. Ito ay considered as a society kasi may isang culture, may mga rules na sinusunod at may interaction ang bawat tao.
Now, for you, what do you think is the meaning of the word community? Do you think community is just another term to describe a society? Now let us know the difference between the word society and community. The big difference is society refers to a broad group of people connected by shared culture or organization. On the other hand, community refers to a smaller and more specific group of people. Now we know the difference between the meaning of the word society and community. But to make it more clear, let's define the word community. It refers to the people living in one particular area or people who are considered as a unit because of their common interest, social group, or nationality. Community is defined by the connections that people form that give them a sense of belonging. Now, with this definition, we can say that an individual could be part of different communities. For example, you as a teacher could be part of a teaching community, or a community within your school, and the community within your religion, and other community that you are related with.
So now let's move to education. It is a process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. It frequently takes place under the guidance of educators. However, learners can also educate themselves. Education is not limited to formal institution. It extends to informal and experiential learning. So there are 3 types of education. There's formal education, non-formal education, and informal education. What is formal education? It is a structured and systematic learning experiences, and it is in the classroom setting with trained teaching and non-teaching staff. So yung formal education, yung pinakakilala nating type ng education, yung nasa school setting, may class schedule, may licensed teachers, may grades, exams, and diploma sa dulo. The examples in formal education is the elementary, high school, college, vocational, and special education. Then what about non-formal education? It is an organized educational activity that takes place outside the formal setup or no age limit. Non-formal education naman ay organized din pero hindi siya sakop ng traditional school system. So wala kang kailangang sundin na grade level or age. Pwede ka matuto at any stage ng buhay mo. Like, one of the example is the alternative learning system of DepEd para sa mga hindi nakapagtapos ng formal schooling pero gusto pa ring matuto at makakuha ng certificate. So lastly is the informal education. It is a lifelong process of learning by which a person acquires and accumulates knowledge, skills, attitude from daily experiences at home, at work, at play, and from life itself. So, ito yung pinaka-natural na paraan ng pagkatuto because it is true life itself. Hindi mo na kailangan ng teacher or classroom para matuto. Natututo ka habang nanonood ng TV, nakikipag-usap sa ibang tao, tumutulong sa bahay, or kahit na anong experiences na nagagawa mo sa everyday lives mo. Now, here are the key aspects of formal education and the important features of informal education. So, the key aspects of formal education is the structured curriculum, academic progression and specialization, certification and degrees, trained educators, and preparation for future careers. While the important features of informal education includes everyday learning experiences, self-directed exploration, mentorship and role models, media and technology, and lastly, the community learning and collaboration. This leads us to the importance of education, which can be described through this aspect. So first, the empowerment through knowledge. Knowledge gives people confidence and control over their lives. Second is the social mobility and inclusivity. So education opens opportunities and promotes equality. Then lastly, cultural understanding and tolerance. Learning about culture builds respect and reduces prejudice.
Let us now define social interaction. Social interaction is defined as a dynamic, reciprocal exchange of behaviors, actions, and responses between individuals or groups within a social context. Now, social interaction can be differentiated into three types: the accidental, repeated, or regular and regulated social interaction. Now, let's talk about these three types. The first one is the accidental social interaction. It is the unplanned or unexpected interactions that happen by chance. For example, bumping into someone and saying sorry, or asking a stranger for directions. The second one is the repeated social interaction. It is the interactions that happen regularly with the same people. For example, chatting with our classmates inside the classroom every day. That is an example of repeated social interaction. And lastly, the regulated social interaction. These interactions follow a certain rules, norms, or formal structures when talking to someone. For example, a job interview, a court hearing, or a teacher leading a class discussion. Now, all of these interactions is the fundamental building block of our society, shaping our understanding of the world and our relationship with others. Therefore, it is important to take notes that social structures and cultures are founded upon social interactions by the people we interact with. By interacting with one another, people design rules, institution, and system within which they seek to live. Now, that is social interaction.
So now, what is school culture? It is the policies, interpersonal dynamics, attitudes, customs, and formal and informal rules of behavior within a school. School culture is all the beliefs, traditions, values, policies, attitudes, and norms that exist in a classroom, which impact its operation, but could be formed, improved, or sustained by the school leaders or heads. So kapag sinabi natin school culture, ito yung kabuoang atmosphere ng isang paaralan, kung paano yung mga kumikilos yung mga tao doon, paano sila makatungo sa isa't isa, at yung values na pinapahalagahan sa loob ng paaralan. We have two different school culture, the positive school culture and the negative school culture. Now, what's the difference between them? So, positive school culture can improve students' ability to learn by creating a positive environment that builds relationship among students and teachers. In schools that have a strong culture, teachers are motivated and engaged when working with students. So, this type of a school culture impacts the students' sense of belonging, well-being, level of being recognized for their efforts, and level of encouragement. Then what about negative school culture? It is an environment where professionals are not on the same page, do not trust each other, and where performance and mental health of teaching staff has impacted in a negative way. It is the result of behaviors and habits that have been left unchecked time and time again, and unfortunately has become accepted as the norm. Schools with negative school culture lack a clear sense of purpose, have norms that reinforce inertia, blame students for lack of progress, discourage collaboration, and often have actively hostile relations among staff.
Why do you think a positive school culture matters more than ever? Correct. If the school culture is positive, then it will show a positive outcomes, especially with the people that involves within that institution, the teachers, the students, and the other personnel involved. However, negative school culture will also eventually result to negative outcomes. So, it is important to remember, strong school culture is key to making schools more constructive and instructive places, meaning they are serving their purpose as a school, helping the students, the teachers, and all the people that will be involved in that institutions to be informed and aware. This is why some refer to the school culture as the hidden curriculum. Because better school culture does not necessarily mean spending more money on the facilities in the school. Instead, it means building a strong emotional and social connection that sets students on the path to success.
And that would be all for the introduction of our course. Thank you for watching. We hope this helped you learn something new. Goodbye!